Hello, good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. We're coming to you live from our studios here at Kukumlemle. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125 and across the world on myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina Safwa and I'm doing this with...
And I'm Carlos Kaloni. Now, the Ghana Bar Association says it is considering dragging the president to court over the suspension of Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo as the bar demands immediate release of the full decision, establishing a prima facie case against her, describing the process as unconstitutional.
Also tonight, more confusion rocks NPP as calls to suspend the party's ongoing Thank You tour intensifies, with the former Chief Justice under President Kufuor the latest to warn that the escalating verbal clashes are harming the party.
If you take a step back, what is happening is that it's not good for the party, and get back indoors, find a way out of this mess.
And President John Dramani Mahama pledges 6 months of his salary to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund as he launches 3 billion Mahama Care Fund to support chronic diseases treatment in the country.
I've pledged half a year, 6 months of my salary to Mahama Care. I'm not yet being paid.
Well, tonight, the Ghana Bar Association has served notice that it may go to court to challenge the decision by the president to suspend the Chief Justice. The bar wants the decision revoked because it is unconstitutional. The bar is demanding the release of the full decision, establishing a prima facie case against the Chief Justice. They also want the enactment of clear regulations to guide proceedings involving Superior Court of Justices. All this is detailed in the Ghana Bar Association's media conference resolution document, which we have a copy of, and you have it on your screen. And it reads, resolution of the Ghana Bar Association passed at its 2025 media conference. 1. Withdrawal of directive on court assignment. The Ghana Bar Association respectfully calls for the withdrawal of the acting Chief Justice's directive on case assignment, citing uncertainty and potential disruption. The GBA urges enhanced use of technology to ensure fairness and efficiency in assigning cases. And point 2, suspension of the Chief Justice. The GBA says revoke Chief Justice's suspension. The GBA urges the immediate revocation of the Chief Justice's suspension, deeming it unconstitutional due to the lack of governing regulations under Article 296.
Well, the third part of that, the GBA is calling for the swift enactment of clear regulations to guide proceedings involving Super Court justices, ensuring fairness and transparency. Well, they go on to state that the GBA demands the immediate release of the full decision establishing a prima facie case against the Chief Justice in line with precedent and transparency. The GBA denounces politically motivated statements that undermine judicial independence and vows to protect the integrity of the judiciary. And finally, they state that they strongly condemn the ongoing illegal mining, Galamsey, and calls for urgent, coordinated action by all arms of government and stakeholders to end the menace. It also urges the judiciary to prioritize and fast-track Galamsey-related cases.
Well, even before this document was made public on Newsnight yesterday, Deputy Attorney General described the Ghana Bar Association's decision to petition President John Mahama to revoke the suspension of Chief Justice as shocking, an act of lawlessness.
The GBA has decided to abandon principles of law and rely on something else to form their opinion. And I think we first of all need to take the GBA's resolution in context. The failure or inability or refusal to publish a regulation to guide how the discretion is exercised does not in any way disable the person from exercising the discretion. And that is the point I'm trying to make, that when I look at all these instances, no CI has been published in respect of all the things that I've mentioned. There are about 50 more that I could mention. Does that mean that the president cannot appoint a minister? Shall that mean that the president cannot sign international agreement? Does that mean that the president cannot grant pardon? And so on and so forth. So there is really little law in what the GBA is standing on to say that unless the CI is published, the president, may not suspend the Chief Justice under this circumstance.
While speaking on Top Story Joy FM moments ago, spokesperson of the Ghana Bar Association, Xavier Koje, affirmed the GBA's firm intention to take the matter to court. Take a listen.
As far as the exercise of that discretion by the president is concerned, there ought to have been published a CI or a statutory instrument before that is done. Why should anybody have issue with it? That is the position the members have taken. We may be wrong, we may be right. We all have views. And if you attend a meeting, the very fact that you have your personal views and various people have expressed various views, that does not mean that the meeting will not come to a certain decision. Once the meeting comes to a decision, it becomes the decision of the meeting. In that wise, you cannot be pushing your personal views any longer. So I don't think that it's fair to say that decisions have been imposed on us and going to the extent of mentioning the former Attorney General's name, the Deputy Attorney General's name. I was at the meeting. I didn't see my learned good friend Edwigi there. He may have heard things, but I think that sometimes it is the best for you to have information firsthand before you comment. So for us, as far as the discretion of suspending the Chief Justice is concerned, the president ought to have done that under a published regulation as required by Article 296. Let us not forget that the Supreme Court is not bound by its decision. The fact that Joseph Fran's case said not in all cases that this must be done. Nobody is too sure whether the Supreme Court in the future can say that in the president exercising a discretion of this nature, i.e. suspending the Chief Justice, he shouldn't have done that under a published regulation. For once it's about the Constitution or law, that's a possibility. There must be clear guidelines as to how these things ought to be done. So that's a possibility, to have the courts to interpret that for us.
But the director of NDC's Legal Affairs and acting CEO of the National Petroleum Authority strongly disagrees with the GBA.
In fact, when the Chief Justice, in the case of Salopo, decided the prima facie case against Salopo, referenced Chief Justice Akufo, right? And thereafter appointed the 5-member committee chaired by his Lordship Justice Bennett. The first day, Charlotte Osei and the lawyers appeared before the committee. The committee put in place the rule and procedure that will govern, more or less the regulation that will govern its conduct. We've not gotten there yet. At this point,
okay,
the president, together with the Council of State, has just given an indication that ABCD decisions have been taken relative to the determination of prima facie and the establishment of the committee. So where from this matter?
Okay.
And maybe I'll conclude on this. Just 2 seconds. The Ghana Bar Association is telling the Chief Justice that more or less he has no right to decide who should speak or the decision as to the registrar making a determination as to what case, what date, and what have you. As another part, I said, under what circumstance was Justice Efia's made the presiding, in fact, the first time, the judge in the matter involving Agypong and Richard Dapa, she was the Deputy Attorney General then. How did the Chief Justice get the case to her ladyship, Justice Efia? Was it a computer-generated assignment? Ask Asunabada. Under what circumstance the Justice Honyenuga, and then a court of appeal judge. The circumstance under which he was given a warrant to determine the case involving Dr. Okuni and Sedu Abongo. Please, this level of hypocrisy.
Now, away from the GBA, there are growing calls for the suspension of the opposition NPP's ongoing Thank You tour. The latest voice to join the chorus is former Chief of Staff, Kojo Mpiene, who has described the tour as misplaced. Originally intended to mend divisions and rally support within a fractured party, the tour has instead been marred by controversy. Now, tensions peaked during the Bono Region stop, where 2024 flag bearer aspirant Kennedy Agypong and Bono Regional Chairman Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronye, engaged in a heated exchange, trading insults and accusations in a public clash over internal party matters. Take a listen.
Arrogance.
It is arrogance that has led us to this place. In this region, did any one of you see me openly campaign for a particular candidate? But some people use my name to campaign and later lied about it. These same people will return to you to campaign, but they have annoyed me. No one should go out there to insult anyone. You don't go out there and insult everybody and then return and ask for unity.
Media, I'm telling you the truth.
Look, in this party, no one is a man than the other. Because of NPP, some of you speak like you are men. You are not. When it comes to contributions for this party, you can't even help. You go around begging, but you talk like the whole world revolves around you. If it's not about unity, some of you can't even speak the way you are speaking. Because when you come to my house, you are even shy. Some of you, we buy cars for you. Or when you come out here, you act arrogantly. I will not respond to some people. If not, you would have seen a showdown. Me, I'm a rich man. I don't go about to beg for money. Even you poor people claim you can be courageous. How much more those of us who are rich, who born dog, to talk to me anyhow?
Our former NPP aspirant, Dr. Arthur Kennedy, explained that the party should instead be going around the country apologizing for its abysmal governance record. He spoke on PM Express.
I actually think we need an apology talk rather than a thank you talk. We should be apologizing to the country for our bad governance. And then we should also have what I would call an accountability process, in which we hold to account the leaders of our government and government agencies whose misgovernance and arrogance and corruption caused our defeat. When we do that accountability as well as apology, it will give us more credibility with the public. And as you rightly pointed out, the primary that led to Dr. Bawumia's selection was characterized by a little bit of rancor. Somebody lost the eye. It was violence. Actually, I'm told that even during this apology tour, some slaps have been exchanged, which proves that there is a need for more behind-the-scenes reconciliation and other things before we take it public, and respectfully to Miracle support it. What is happening is Dr. Bawumia is beginning to make his case ahead of his competitors. Everybody knows that. We know that was what Mahama was doing. That's what Dr. Bawumia is.
Well, he also revealed that several disgruntled members are open to rejoining the party on condition that key figures, including the former vice president and NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, temporarily step aside.
I believe so. They should take a step back. What is happening is that it's not good for the party, and get back indoors and find a way out of this mess.
So why wasn't this done before embarking on this? Why?
I don't know. I'm sorry to say, I don't know. First, I'm not a member of the National Executive. I'm not a member of National Council. So I don't know what informed them to take this decision. Maybe if I were there, I would have given them my advice, as I'm telling you now. But I don't know. And I can't fault them for the decision they took. When I don't know why they took that decision.
Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has pledged 6 months of his salary to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, known as Mahama Care, as he launches 3 billion Ghana cedis fund to support chronic disease treatment in Ghana. The trust fund is aimed at supporting Ghanaians suffering from chronic and life-threatening illnesses. There's more in this report by Collins Frimpong.
The World Health Organization says non-communicable diseases account for approximately 45% of all deaths in Ghana, with cardiovascular diseases making up 19% and cancers 5%. Also, patients suffering from some non-communicable diseases require up to 50,000 cedis for treatment every year. To provide support for their treatment and reduce the burden and spread of NCDs in the country, President John Dramani Mahama has launched the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, known as Mahama Care, at the University of Ghana Medical Center. The fund will require 3 billion Ghana cedi within the next 3 years, with funding support from the NHIS, budgetary allocations, and corporate sponsors.
Initial projections suggest the fund will require approximately 3 billion Ghana cedis annually over the first 3 years. And as was said, the main source of finance is going to come from the NHIL, the uncapped portion of the NHIL. It will also include direct budgetary support from government, voluntary contributions from corporate institutions and individuals, grants, donations.
Setting the tone for donations, President John Mahama has pledged to donate 6 months of his salaries to the fund once he begins to receive pay.
I've pledged half a year, 6 months of my salary to Mahama Care. I'm not yet being paid. They say Accountant General is still doing something. But whenever Accountant General finishes, 6 months of whatever I'm entitled to will go into Mahama Care.
He also called for stronger public awareness on lifestyle-related diseases to address the rising cases of NCDs.
A lot of these diseases are caused by ignorance in terms of our lifestyles and all that. And so we must also, as part of the Ghana Medical Trust Fund program, launch a very strong awareness campaign so that people will know what the trigger factors for these non-communicable diseases are. I understand that some of them are genetic because you can inherit it from your parents in your genes, but a far greater number are lifestyle diseases, they are acquired.
For legal backing, Health Minister Kwabena Minta Kando has assured that a bill will be presented to Parliament for approval once the House resumes.
The task force inaugurated to guide this process has successfully completed a comprehensive policy document detailing the operational and management framework of the fund. Secondly, the draft bill for the establishment of the Mahama Care Fund is now ready and will be submitted to Parliament immediately after the recess.
Some of the NCDs the fund will cater for include cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, chronic kidney failure, stroke, and other major complications. Collins Frimpong's report for Joy News.
Now, Health Minister Kwabena Minta Kando has announced that the Ghana Medical Trust Fund will require 3 billion cedis annually to operate. He confirmed that a dedicated fund is in place for its first year and that the policy document will be presented to Parliament when it resumes. A short code for public donations will also be launched soon.
We need about 3 billion Ghana cedis for the next first year. Second year, we need about 3 billion. So yearly for now, the projection, you know, just like the National Health Insurance, once, we run the scheme, we realized that we can add on more diseases. So they were adding on and adding on. But for the initial stages for this chronic disease, the cancer, the cardiovascular diseases, we need about 3 billion. And that 3 billion, we are taking a percentage from the uncapping money and then go look for the rest somewhere. A lot of people have even called me, and within the next 72 hours, we will announce a short code where everybody can also contribute to realize this wonderful initiative.
It has been 104 43 days. That's about 5 months since the last ballot was cast in the 2024 general election. But the Ablekuma North constituency is still without representation in Parliament. The collation and recollation of results in that constituency has been rocked by chaos, court injunctions and destruction of properties, forcing the Electoral Commission to put on hold the entire collation process with just one polling station outstanding. Frustrated residents are calling on the Electoral Commission to finalize the collation process and declare a winner so development can resume in the constituency.
Yeah, as for me, I feel bad though, because when we have an MP, he or she is going to represent us at the Parliament. And currently that we don't have it, I think when the national cake is being shared, we won't get some. You get it? Yes, though that will get theirs. They will benefit, but as for us, we won't benefit.
Bad, because I think during the election, after the election, there was a lot of halabalus and all that, and they banned the government school. And up till now, even the government school hasn't been repaired. They've not done anything about it. Yes, and the traffic light and all that, sometimes it gets spoiled and all that, and you have to wait for some days before it comes back. And all. If we had a member of Parliament, they could have fixed all these problems.
I don't feel good about it. Yeah, because look at our place. This place is supposed to be a bus stop, but look at the place. They are putting containers everywhere. And most of the times, the traffic light, it doesn't work. It will go off, it will come back. Like, you don't even have somebody to stand inside and direct them. And then it's not good. It's not good, but I think we have to have an MP here who is going to support us, help us in all those stuffs.
We are not, this area, we need, this district especially, we need an MP because of the election, one of our schools is bent. There is no help over there. So if an MP is here, the school will be reformed again.
Well, you heard the resident of Ablekuma North constituency. Let's go on Zoom now and speak with Rashid Tanko. He is the Deputy Director of IT at the NDC. Grateful for your time. For you in the NDC, have you given up on the Ablekuma North constituency?
Carlos, let me say good evening to you and your cherished viewers. We have not given up. In fact, our eyes are on it, and we are very sure that Ablekuma North seat is for the NDC, and we are working towards that. But only that we will not be allowed to be shortchanged by any unscrupulous or crooked process. We will not allow that. That one there. Take it from here. The NDC will not allow any crooked means to declare Ablekuma North for anybody apart from the NDC, because we are very sure that we've won it. But the issues that we are having as of now with them is about the 62 polling stations. At that one there, we are clear in our mind. If the EC is saying they don't have it, the NPP themselves don't have it, but they cannot use the scanned copies of NPP to declare them winners. That is what they are trying to do, and we're having problems. And that has stalled Ablekuma North up to now. Why would the Electoral Commission want to use our opponent NPP scanned copies, not even carbon copies of the pink sheet, but scanned copies? We are not going to accept it.
Right.
That is why we are saying the only solution therein is for us to go and rerun the 62 polling stations. And then a winner can be declared from that.
You want a rerun. Have you formally written to the EC or met with the other party to discuss the way forward on this matter?
Of course. We met them the last time we met them, and we told them, they made it very clear to us that they don't have the pink sheet.
They as who do not have the pink sheet?
The Electoral Commission. Because they are the owners of the original copies. We, the political parties, are given carbon copies. Now, if they don't have the original, and we, the political parties, would also don't have the carbon copy, why would they then go and use scanned copies of electoral edition NPP and use it as a basis to declare the NPP candidate as a winner? That's what they are trying to do. And Carlos, interestingly enough, when they were doing that illegality, some of their presiding officers came out and said, no, this pink sheet is not my pink sheet. I didn't sign this. I didn't put these figures there. These were concocted one from Electoral Commission by the NPP.
Yes.
And you saw that even the returning officer himself, midway, refused to continue the exercise because he saw that they were using fake pink sheets to force him to declare the election. And he stood his ground and said, I can't do it. I can't continue this exercise. So the only solution as of now is for us to go a rerun for the 62 polling stations. We must go for a rerun, and then the winner will be declared there.
Has the Electoral Commission itself agreed with that proposition you're making that you need a rerun?
Well, that is our position. We have given it out to them. The other time, these people, Peace Council invited us to come and discuss the matter. They refused to come. They refused to come. The Electoral Commission, the NPP, refused to attend. And our position is very clear. Why is it that they are forcing to declare the NPP winner? Using their pink sheet. Because they are using the 62 one that we are challenging, they use the NPP scam copies. Everybody saw it. It was live on camera. Why is it that they are forcing to use the NPP scam copies to declare? We won't accept it.
All right. So we'll leave it here, and we'll still keep our eyes on the development there in Ablekuma North constituency.
Hopefully the EC will step in and ensure they have representation in Parliament. But you're still watching Joy News Prime. We'll be back after this quick turn. Thanks for staying with us here on the Joy News channel. Now to other stories, the Kumasi Mayor, Richard Ofori-Agyemang has owned up to carting 5 seized controversial Galamsey excavators from the Forestry Commission's premises in the Ashanti region. Now, the towing of the excavators by unknown armed men this morning sparked huge controversy over who gave the order, with civil society organizations calling for an immediate sacking of the mayor of Kumasi and the Ashanti regional minister. A few hours after the intense pressure, there's some clarity coming through as to what exactly happened. Erastus Asaredonko has details.
This is the original depot of the Forestry Commission. This is where seized excavators from illegal mining fields, excavators that are being used in illegal mining in forest reserves, have been parked. Now, this morning we had information that there's been a directive from somebody, an authority, that all these seized excavators that have been properly and lawfully kept in the custody of the commission be released. And so you see the low beds here, they were used to cart 5 of the excavators. After we learnt of it, we started pulling strings and talking to various authorities, asking why. Now there's another order asking them to return the seized excavators. And so all 5 of the excavators have been brought back. This is the last one that has been brought back. And these are seized excavators. These are exhibits that are going to be used for prosecution. So if you see them, they've been marked, properly marked. And you can see the writings on them in red, indicating that these are exhibits. And so you can see this one, Government of Ghana, Ashanti, and Carrier, the date they were seized, and exhibit number 01. These are awaiting, according to the Forestry Commission officials, there are cases pending in court. These are exhibits. Who will order for exhibits that are going to be used in prosecution to be returned and released? Who gave that order? And that's the major question that we are asking right now. Now there's been denials all across people. We have cross-checked. We are still cross-checking. And at the right time, we'll bring you the right information. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Forestry Commission, Regional Depot, Kumasi.
Well, the man at the center of the controversy, the Kumasi Mayor, Richard Ofori-Agyemang, has owned up to carting the excavators. Let's listen to his explanation.
since we had the fire incident at the Doom from day one, every activity that we have done there, we have taken advantage of the seized excavators to use them to do whatever that we have to do. And when we finish, we return back. So currently, there's a report available to us that says that we must demolish there are 3 buildings that we have to demolish. And people have started construction. They have started fixing the very buildings that have been earmarked to be demolished.
Right.
Last week, we went to fence off the area where they sell the shoes, and they brought into it. So we wanted to go and do the demolition today. We called the regional schedule coordinator to help us within the these excavators that is at their disposal. We did not have any idea that those ones that we were going to use were the ones that are kept at the forestry. So when it was brought to my attention, in fact, it was the general officer commanding the central command who brought it to my attention. So we have them to return the machine.
So you are saying that
the demolition work that we were even going to use the excavators, we have not done.
So you are saying that the excavators were going to be used for the demolition exercise?
Everybody in Kumasi knows that since day one, we have been using excavators about 3, 4, 5 at a time. We have been using excavators at the inside that got bent. And it is these same season excavators that we fuel for them to do the work for us. And then when we are done, we bring it back, whoever will take it. So this morning, we wanted to go and demolish the structure, the one in front of where the agency has been put it. Because I have good intentions to save lives. And the good intentions that I have, it's getting to something, but it's putting my name in bad light. I feel working for the people, I put yourself in line. It's something that comes with the office. But please, Mr. Shibi, I do not have any intention to misbehave. I do not. It was for a good purpose. The noise that the schools are stopped. I am not going from now to the end of term. I leave this place, go and get myself with any machinery at that particular place. I'm begging you.
Well, while accepting the apology of the mayor, Ken Ashigbe insists the law must be followed in subsequent engagement.
Maybe this is a mayor who needs equipment. And so if these cases can be tried as quickly as possible, then he can have excavators that will be forfeited and will be given to him. So it's his right. Because you see, his intentions are good. Let one of these people whose excavators have been seized see any of them being used like this. They go to court, they win their cases, they'll bring a case against the state. So I think that his intentions are noble, at least he's come clean. What we need to do is to urge the Attorney General, speed up any of the cases, and any of these excavators that are forfeited to the state, let's allocate them to the KME.
Away from Galamsey, Child Rights International has called for the immediate seizure of community mining in the country. This comes in the wake of a recent study by the organization which reveals that children between the ages of 5 and 12 are reported to have dropped out of school entirely due to their involvement in Galamsey. According to them, it could cost the nation between 5 million and more to rehabilitate just one child involved in illegal mining. Brighter Pia is the executive director for the Child Rights International.
In children who participate in illegal mining, they earn between 100 Ghana cedis to 150 Ghana cedis per day. And if you translate that into weekly and monthly, so for instance, let's look at the weekly income that children earn in the mining areas. So for the lower range, which is the 100 Ghana cedis, they earn 700 Ghana cedis a week. And then the upper range, which is the 150 Ghana cedis, they earn 1,050 Ghana cedis a week. And when you translate that into month, you realize that the lower range, they are taking 2,800 Ghana cedis, and then the upper range, they are taking 4,200, which clearly shows that the incomes that children earn from illegal mining is 3 to 5 times than what the average household earns in the mining areas. So clearly, this paints a picture that, and when you look at the enrollment rate, you realize that the more they grow, the more they find it attractive to go into illegal mining than to be in school. It's getting worse. That is a fact. The situation is getting out of hand because if you look at the rate of school dropout within a certain age cohort, it's alarming, and you cannot take it for granted. Otherwise, before children get to the age of 25, they will not properly be educated, and that for me is a threat to national security, and we should not take it for granted. The average person who has gone through a 21-day activity and has acquired it, you will need the minimum expenditure that you need to take care of that person is between 500,000 and 1 million Ghana cedis. And that, even for you to begin to see results, it will start from 2 years. And you need a maximum of 15 years to be able to rehabilitate a child who has gone through a certain behavior for some time, you know. And so it's an expensive adventure, and we don't want to, as a state, we can't even afford it.
Let's shift our attention now to education. The Minister for Education, Haruna Iddrisu, has assured the principals of colleges of education, PRINCOF, that their institutions will soon receive legal recognition as tertiary institutions through the introduction of a new act, which will be revised in Act 847 to give birth to them. Now, this assurance was given during a breakfast meeting held with PRINCOF members. According to the minister, the proposed legislation will provide a solid legal foundation for the colleges of education to operate with full university status. Mamavi Sefako has more in this report.
The conference room of the Labadi Beach Hotel was filled with all 47 principals of colleges of education across the country. The breakfast meeting between PRINCOF and the Minister of Education was aimed at addressing long-standing concerns facing the colleges. Haruna Iddrisu assured the principals that Act 847 will soon be introduced to give colleges of education a firm legal backing to operate fully as tertiary institutions.
Act 847, a new bill which will give full legal backing to your new birth, your new standing, your new status will be introduced in Parliament for purpose of giving you the needed legal muscle to function effectively as Ghana's colleges of education, now awarding degrees and not diplomas.
The minister also revealed that 2% of Ghana's oil and gas revenue will be allocated to support technical and vocational education and training, TVET, part of which will be used to address some of the persistent challenges faced by the colleges.
A tertiary education, technical vocational education fund bill, trying to convince the present cabinet and the Ministry of Finance that we should dedicate 2% of our oil revenue to support technical and vocational education. If that succeeds, we will get some envelope of resources to support the education sector generally.
Meanwhile, the president of PRINCOF, Professor Samuel Atintono, expressed satisfaction with the minister's assurances. He also disclosed that the long-standing issue of salary migration for staff of the colleges of education has finally been resolved.
Or the practical responses of what we have asked for. For example, the vehicles, we said they are very bad for the principals, and he has assured us he will consult with GTEC and that of GetFund, then get back to us. Yes, by January 2025 this year, all the staff of the colleges of education had been migrated to the university pay structure. So that had been dealt with. There are few ones who couldn't get migrated, but those are just in a minority, very, very few. So we are dealing with them because it's a process, it cannot be completed. But we are very happy that the migration has taken place.
You're still watching Joy News Prime, and we have other stories lined up for you. The Minister of Youth Development and Empowerment, George Opariado, has voiced concerns over the ongoing issues of brain drain and rising unemployment, Speaking at the opening ceremony of ECOWAS Human Capital Development Youth Conference, he emphasized that these challenges pose significant obstacles to the growth and potential of the nation's youth.
Plays a vital role in our strategy, connecting experienced professionals with the youth to foster career advancement and personal growth. However, we continue to face challenges, including unemployment and brain drain, which threatens to undermine our youth potential.
Also addressing the event, Reuben Johnson, Special Advisor to the Vice President of ECOWAS Commission, emphasized the severe impact that brain drain has had on the health sectors of member states.
The issue of brain drain, especially among young health professionals, present a major challenge to our healthcare system and public health outcomes. It is essential to recognize the valuable contribution of these professionals and to implement policies that will help retain and support them. By doing so, we can ensure the continued well-being of our communities and the sustainability of our healthcare services.
Well, Ghanaian authors are raising their voices for urgent reforms in the country's publishing industry, calling for structure that make writing not just a passion, but a profitable venture. Renowned author Nana Agypong speaking at the launch of his 3 new books, A Taste of the Serpent Keys, The Mystery of the Treasure Keeper, and One Stone, One Bride, and a Zombie. He described the current state of the book value chain as terrible, citing long-standing inefficiencies that continue to stifle local literacy work.
For the writer, you're the one person who has to now create your concepts, write, sometimes edit yourself, look for a printer, print yourself, now market it, go around, look for readers to buy, and then talk to them for the reading circuit. It's daunting sometimes, and it turns a lot of people off, but hopefully, slowly, with persons like writers and things, like we have pager and all those happening. So slowly, there's a value chain working, but at the moment it's terrible.
Well, you're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Caloni.
I know her. Showbiz is up next.